Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So, today I just wanted to talk about weight loss programs basically, and those programs are around to do with food and how much people eat, whether it's too much, too little, and sort of how I feel about them, really. So, this all came about because on Netflix, it's probably 6 to 8 weeks ago now, maybe longer than that, actually. I'm not too sure. There was a Netflix documentary that came out that was called, let me just have a look, Fit for TV: The Reality of the Biggest Loser. Now, I used to watch The Biggest Loser UK when it came out. Gosh, that must be like nearly 20 years ago. It feels that long ago. Which, if you don't know what it is, basically the premise of the show is there's a group of people that have a lot of weight to lose, or they feel they have a lot of weight to lose. And you basically have to be, up in the ranks, losing the most weight each week in order to stay in. So if you've lost the least, then you'll be at the bottom, basically. And number one, that concept in itself is just absolutely crazy because these people are losing. Some of them, obviously, the more weight you have to lose, the more sort of comes off in the beginning. Obviously, if you're got less weight to lose, it does get harder for it to come off. So, and you can't really compare that either. So, and like, obviously, they're in this camp away from everybody, no phones. Obviously, this was kind of the time before, I think, at least when I first watched it, obviously, like social media and everything, that wasn't like the biggest thing as it is like sort of now. But they'd have no phones, no contact with their family. They'd just be on this ranch, and all it would be diet, exercise, doing challenges. And yeah, and that was basically their life for months on end. I think an obvious problem, with these kind of shows is you're in this show that's giving you all the resources. You've got all the time in the world, literally, to be exercising, sorting out your nutrition, eating properly and at correct times, no snacking, like you don't have access to that. So obviously, you're going to lose the weight. But then they put in these challenges that are like, if you want, oh, do you want to see your family? Okay. Well, eat as many calories as you can. That's more than that anyone else will eat. I mean, talk about psychological warfare. Just what that would do to a person, I don't even know. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And they're just, you're just put in these situations, and they do want to lose the weight. They need a bit of help. They need that, specialist advice. But when you see all these things that have then come out as well of using caffeine pills, and Gillian got obviously told off for doing it and everything, like it's just ridiculous. And these kind of things, obviously, I don't think that for a long time there's been a show like this, but I could be wrong. I don't sort of watch that sort of thing anymore. um, but the problem is you're put in this situation that's great, but it's just not sustainable in the real world because, high number of people are going to have jobs, they're going to have families, even pets. Um, they could be working 60 hours a week, 30 hours a week. You've got to do your own food shopping. There's all the temptation, and things like that are just really hard to deal with on your own. And a lot of these people that go in and do so well and do lose a lot of weight end up just gaining it back over the years because it's just not sustainable. And that must just be so disheartening. And it's not their fault. Like, you go from basically being secluded, being told what to eat, told how to exercise, and all that stuff, to being back at home around all the temptations, whether that's alcohol, food, all of the above. And it's just so difficult. And I can't remember the exact stat, but it like ruined their metabolism. So they weren't able to like sustain it and lose weight or keep the weight that they were because getting there in the end, their metabolism was shot. And to have to deal with that, and I don't know if there's even anything you can do to get your metabolism back to a place after that. But yeah, I just can't imagine at all what that must do to these people and how they're probably still suffering from the effects of what they went through on these kind of shows. Like I'm just rambling and ranting on now, but in the UK, if you're not from the UK, and again, you'll probably have had something similar where you live, but we also had a show called Super Size versus Super Skinny. Now, the concept of this show was you have someone that was, was considered obese or severely obese. They've gained a lot of weight because they've overindulged in their food for whatever reason. And that can be, obviously anything. And then they have the opposite end of the scale, which is someone that's basically got an eating disorder, but can't see that. And they're, as the title suggests, super skinny. They barely eat anything. They might even just drink basically coffee, black coffee, and have like a chocolate bar or something that's like really unhealthy and not nutritional at all, but like one item of food for the whole day. And they do that every day. Thinking about it, I feel like I remember one episode, the guy basically just drank tea and smoked cigarettes. But yeah, and they put these two people into a house. Again, we're always secluded. We've got each other at least, I guess. They basically put them both into a house and then they swap their diets. So the person that's consuming a lot of calories, so this could be 3, 4, 5,000 a day, swaps diets with the super skinny person who is basically eating nothing really, a slither of toast, and basically drinks their calories effectively. To basically see the effect, the effects that it is. So for the super skinny person, it would be trying to get them to eat more, like, and they don't force them. Sorry, the cat is playing with a Pepsi. So I apologize if you can hear that. So their sort of aim is to show the supersized person that they don't need to eat as much as they're eating and they can survive and they'll be okay on like a normal amount of food, even though this person isn't eating a normal amount of food. And showing the super skinny person that they can eat more and they will be okay. But it's just crazy to me because on both sides of the scale, not an intended pun there, you've got these people that rather than being on a reality TV show, which is effectively what it is, and I mean, I know people apply to go on these shows, but I just think it's just not the place to need like to do it. And again, they're in this house, they've only got each other. Sometimes they obviously bicker because one person's not getting near enough food as they used to. So, like, their blood sugar and everything is just plummeting. So, obviously, that makes you irritable and, can make you unhappy and whatever. And then the supersized person in some of the episodes, they're trying to encourage the super skinny person to eat more and come on, you can do it, finish the plate. When in fact, they're used to their stomachs will be so tiny because they're not used to eating a big volume of food. And I don't know, the mind just boggles. Especially I've basically, I'm 32. And in all honesty, I've probably been on some kind of diet whether it's sensible or not, since probably about 20 years, 11 or 12, when I started high school. And the funny thing is now, it was like a year or so ago, or maybe a bit longer, my mum gave me a book with like some photos of me in. And there was a photo of me in, it must have been 2009 or 8, whenever the World Cup was, where we had the red shirts with the gold number on. I think that might be 2008, 'cause it's normally an even number, isn't it? And I looked at myself in the photo and just went, you are, you look good. Like, obviously, you don't see it at the time, but I was just like, I look like I just remember in that moment feeling like really like fat and like I don't want to say unattractive because that wasn't really, but just not pretty. I guess is the better way to put it for the age. Um, but then I looked at that photo as like a 30-year-old woman and went, there was nothing wrong with you, and you didn't need to change anything. Like it's just crazy, and that's just what sucks about these kind of things. It really does have an effect on people, and people do it wrong because the average person doesn't know what to do and how to do it correctly, whether that's food, exercise, whatever. I've been there, done that, got the postcard, I've done the crash diets, I've done the. Does anyone remember? Again, this is probably just a UK thing. The Special K diet, eating a bowl of Special K for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, how absurd does that sound? Nobody would just do that, but I did that. And my parents knew I was doing it. It wasn't like a thing, but it was kind of just like this, oh, try this new thing, do it for 7 days. And now I think that is just absolutely nutty. And yeah, there's just the effect it has on people. And, through school and stuff, I don't think you really get the knowledge and whatever on nutrition and exercise. You're kind of just made to do PE. You might learn a bit about food in science or when you're doing food tech or whatever you want to call it these days. Getting old now. And it's just mental because there should be something that just helps you understand from a young age about food, like in a good way, like not in a negative way. And yes, some people are obviously gonna overeat or undereat, and we learn about things in our diet from our parents from a very young age. Obviously we're being fed, you don't get a choice, and you don't understand either. And it's a very, I believe it to just be a very generational thing as well, because you sort of do what you know. um and I mean, as I've obviously got a lot older and sort of into my late 20s and having had two babies, I do, like, I've done my own research and I do understand, and I've done like the proper calorie apps to find out, right, what is my maintenance calories, take 500 from that, and normally I'll just add like 100 or so more on, because weight loss should be slow and steady. If you need to lose weight, same with weight gain, it should just be slow and steady. We didn't get, if we're in a place where we're unhappy, we didn't get there overnight. It happens over years and years. So, we shouldn't be encouraged to cut out certain things like chocolate, or you can't eat that, or crisps, or you can only have your banana mashed, not a whole banana. Like, is that Weight Watchers or something? I don't know. Let's not even get started on them because that's a whole nother kettle of fish. But yeah, to be honest, I wanted to be a bit more prepared when making this video, and I feel like I've just splurted out and randomly put out my thoughts. But it is what it is. And if you found this interesting, please let me know. If you want me to do a bit of a deeper dive with more facts and things like that, rather than just my opinion, then I'm more than happy to do so. I just wanted to sit down and talk and yap a bit, and just, yeah, it's just a subject that's like just sort of does mean a lot to me, and especially with the generations that are coming up, like, I just think it's really important that we try and help each other out, and be sensible and try to give the right advice. Obviously, when I'm not a trained professional, I just have learned what I've learned from just getting older and having just a better understanding of things. But yeah, so if you have enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe if you like. And I will be back soon with another video. Again, we just do, I say we, over here on this channel is just an anything and everything. I don't want to stick myself in one corner really, because it's just a bit boring. And I mean, if it comes down the line where I'm doing similar videos in terms of like these kind of things, for example, then yeah, that's fine. Just fall into that. But I'm just trying to see what I enjoy doing, chatting a bit too much. But yeah, I'm nattered on for way too long now about probably not a lot that doesn't even make sense, if I'm honest. So if you did get this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.